What's up, doll collectors, hobbyists, fabsome besties? I'm Toya, an adult doll collector. Welcome to my miniverse. Let's see, what are we doing today? Let's check the comments. Toya, can you show some basic sewing and supplies on a budget? Yes, I think we can. For the record, I am totally not an expert when it comes to sewing, but I can do a little something something to look like a little something something when I need a quick look for the red carpet or something casual to chill in. And these are pants. Let's take a trip to the dollar store to see if we can grab a few supplies to start sewing. Roll the footage. There's a noisy little bird. I headed over to the dollar store to see what crafting supplies we can find. Those are cute little mushrooms. But we're here for sewing stuff, so let's focus. Let's pick up some basics to get started, like a pair of scissors, some fabric. I kind of like these for spring. This one is green with little flowers on it. That could be cute. I'm picking up some felt because I think it's an easy material to work with. It's kind of how I got started. Dollar store dolls have knee articulation. Let's grab a sewing kit and something for a little storage. We are back in the studio, and this is what I got for $10. The storage container was $5. There were ones that cost less, and if you have one at home, you can always just use that. I like to start with some kind of organization system because crafting can get very overwhelming with all the supplies very quickly. This is a stackable drawer, so I can add on as needed. Inside, I have 2 pairs of scissors. Not sure how sharp these are, but we're gonna test them out today. I also picked up detailing scissors, a small sewing kit that comes with thread in white, gray, blue, and black. So I tried to find a fabric that would match those colors. I also saw this one, which I thought was really nice, and this one. But if you're just getting one, we can get all this for about $5, or just this for $3.75. I personally like a lot of scissors that I only use for certain things. Like this would just be for detail work. I would just use this for fabric, and another one for paper. The sewing kit comes with another pair, but I'm not gonna count on these. In the sewing kit, we also get a paper measuring tape, needles, buttons and safety pins, and a threader. Oh, and there's a few straight pins in here as well. Here's the thread. We're not getting a lot since this is a kit used to probably sew on a button or two. So for our first project, let's start with something small. Let's fold the fabric over so the good side is on the inside. I like to iron everything to keep it flat. Measure over 9 inches. At 4.5, let's make a mark. Measure down 2 1/4. Draw an angled line to connect the end to the point. For both sides, place a few pins in it to keep it secure. Get the scissors we're going to use as sewing scissors. Let's cut it out, leaving about 1/4 of an inch at the edge. Now these scissors are cutting the fabric, so that's a yay for these dollar store scissors. Once the triangle has been cut out, let's get a needle and matching thread. Thread the needle. I cut a length that I can work with. My thread is doubled. I tie a knot on the end. I make marks on the fabric to plan an opening, so we will be able to flip it inside out. Take the thread and the needle, enter from the back of the fabric and pull it. Go back in on the line that we drew and pull the thread. On the other side, we're gonna lock the stitch and we're gonna find the knot, take the needle and enter through the 2 pieces of thread right before the knot, then pull to lock the stitch and stop it from coming out. Then we can flip back over to the other side. And we're going to enter again on the line that we drew, pull the needle, then go back in on the same side using that line as a guide and pull, then continue until we reach the mark for the opening. I tied a knot, then I'm skipping over to the other mark and let's go through the fabric, then come back through, then go back through again. So that stitch is stationary, then continue stitching just as before. I like to keep my stitches small and close together. When I get to the end, I tie and knot the thread. Trim the excess. Let's make a little cut at the end. If these scissors won't cut the fabric, let's try the detailing scissors. And kind of works. That's better. That totally cuts. Remove the straight pins, find the opening and flip it inside out. We can use the end of a paintbrush to help push out the corners. I'm using a pair of long tweezers. Once flipped, I tuck in the ends of the opening, iron it, thread the needle again and tie the end. Take the needle and we're just going to go through the opening and come up through the seam. Hinge the fabric so we can hold it closed. With this fabric, we have a little bit of blue on one side and pink on the other. My thread is coming out of the blue side, so we're going to go across directly into the pink side, right on that fold. And then we come out of the fabric, and we're going to go directly across again, back to the blue side, right on that fold, go through the fabric and come out, pull the thread, then go back across to the pink side. And we're going to go in and come out, then go back across. And we're just going to repeat this going all the way down to close the opening. If you can still see the thread, just pull it slightly to close. I make a quick knot, then push the needle into the fabric and come out at some random point. Pull it, trim off the excess, then just wiggle the fabric a little so the tail end of the thread is on the inside. And we've got a little triangle that we can wrap around the dolls and tie in the back to make a scarf top that doesn't need Velcro, hooks, or buttons. This is a super easy top, looks great with jeans, and is perfect for warm weather. And we did 2 different stitches with this project, a running stitch and a ladder stitch or an invisible stitch. When I started sewing, I didn't really know the names of the stitches, so if I'm using the wrong terminology, please help me out in the comments down below. But with these 2 stitches, we can do so much. Cut a large square or rectangle, match it up good side to good side with another one, sew them together with a running stitch, going all the way around, leaving an opening so we can turn it inside out, sew the opening closed with a ladder stitch or invisible stitch to make a new bedspread so we can switch it up in the dollhouse. Sew smaller squares, flip them inside out, add fluff, invisible stitch it closed to make a pillow. Now let's try working with a pattern. I picked up a doll from the DollarTree who has knee articulation for $1.25. Oops, let's pretend like that didn't happen. This doll comes with a basic dress that can fit a Barbie. We could probably take it in a little for a more fitted look, and I wouldn't mind altering the neckline a little. I'm drawing right onto the dress the changes that I want. Remove the dress from the doll, then carefully take it apart by cutting the stitches. If you've got a seam ripper or a craft knife, then that could help too. Now we can use this dress as a pattern. I'm going to trim the top, leaving a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, pin it to the fabric, cut it out. I cut a scrap of fabric that's about the width of the top. I cut the top to match. Let's remove the pattern. I lightly sketch my stitch line, place it on top so it's good side to good side. Let's take some ribbon. I like a thin ribbon. This is 1/8 of an inch. It's not from the dollar store, but the dollar store does have ribbon. Slide the ribbon between the 2 layers, and we're gonna just pin it right at those points. I left the longer parts of the ribbon hanging down. Sew a running stitch on the line drawn, taking a little extra care to make sure those ribbons are secure. Once sewn, make a couple of cuts along the curve, then flip it over the edge to see the new neckline of the dress. For these 2 triangles at the bottom, we're just going to fold it in half so the good side is on the inside and line up the edges. Sketch a straight line about a 1/4 of an inch. Sew on the line to make the top. For the bottom of the dress, let's remove the pattern. Lay the fabric so the good side is facing down. Then we're just going to fold over the bottom edge Neatly sew a running stitch where I'm keeping the stitches small on the visible side. After the bottom has been hemmed, let's run a loose stitch along the top so we can pull it to gather it. Gather it to the length of the top, keeping the ends flat. Then let's flip it over and line up the edges. I use pins to hold it in place. Sew about 1/4 of an inch from the edge using a running stitch. Then flip it back over, and it's starting to look like a dress. Place it on a doll and pin it closed. We can reuse the Velcro from the original dress, or use sleek and thin Velcro. I get this from Michael's. It cost around, I think, $8 to $10. I cut a small piece, pin it to the dress, sew the Velcro and pin the ribbons in place. Use a few stitches to hold it down. Match up the bottom ends of the dress, and then we're just gonna add a few stitches there going down to close up the back of the dress. Remove it from the doll and flip it right side out to make a new dress using a dollar store dress as a pattern. We did change the neckline, use thinner straps, a cotton fabric, and I made the bottom a little shorter. And all the sewing was done by hand using a needle and thread, where we mainly used a running stitch going in and out the fabric using a bunch of straight stitches to make minis for the dollhouse. We can get creative, cut around an image on the fabric, place it on another scrap so it's good side to good side, sew along the edge with a running stitch like a pillow, leaving an opening so we can flip it inside out, sew the opening closed like a pillow with an invisible stitch, and we've got a little butterfly. Sew a long rectangle like the scarf, only this time we add Velcro to the ends. Pinch it in the front and sew on the butterfly to make a butterfly top, giving us another item to add to our wardrobe. Thank you for joining us while we did a little sewing using stuff from the dollar store. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Fanbase, Instagram, and YouTube at MyFroggyStuff and Bella of MyFroggyStuff on Instagram. And we will see you next time. Bye!